When a billionaire meets a cleaning woman who refuses to look him in the eye, their secret begins in darkness. But the world won't let it stay hidden. What happens when love crosses the line that money draws? When a single father with everything risks it all for a woman with nothing? This is a story about two broken people, one stormy night, and the courage it takes to stand against a world that says some distances can never be closed. Stay until the end. Hit like. Drop a comment with your city so I can see how far this story travels. The lights went out at 11:47 p.m. Adrian West stood in his corner office on the 63rd floor, watching the city flicker and die in sections. Lightning cracked open the sky, and for 3 seconds the skyline appeared in white relief before plunging back into darkness. Rain hammered the windows. Somewhere below, car alarms shrieked. His phone buzzed. Emergency generator failed to engage. Backup system offline. Engineering says 40 minutes minimum. He deleted the message and grabbed his jacket. Most men in his position would have gone home. Called the building manager. Let someone else handle it. But Adrian had built West Industries from the ground up, and he knew every circuit breaker, every junction box, every vulnerable point in this tower's infrastructure. He had installed half of them himself, back when he was 23 and hungry, and working 18-hour days to prove he was more than his father's disappointment. That was before the money, before the reputation, before Sophie. He took the stairwell down to the mechanical sublevel, descending through darkness with only his phone's flashlight cutting the black. The air grew colder. The sounds of the storm faded, replaced by the drip of condensation and the hum of sleeping machinery. The backup generator room was at the end of a long corridor lined with pipes. The door was propped open. Emergency lights cast everything in weak amber. Adrian stopped. Someone was already inside. He heard the sound first. A soft metallic scrape, then a frustrated exhale. He moved closer, staying quiet, and looked through the doorway. A woman knelt beside the generator housing, a screwdriver in one hand and a flashlight wedged between her shoulder and cheek. She wore a gray cleaning uniform with the company logo stitched over the pocket. Her dark hair was pulled back in a ponytail. Her hands moved with surprising confidence, removing an access panel and peering into the tangle of wires beneath. Adrian watched her for a moment, caught off guard. He knew her. Not her name, he had never asked, but he had seen her before. Late nights when he stayed past midnight. She cleaned the executive floors, always kept her head down, never spoke. She reached into the generator's guts and tugged something loose, a wire. She frowned at it, then muttered something he couldn't hear. "You know what you're doing," Adrian said. She jerked so hard she dropped the flashlight. It clattered across the concrete and went out. "Jesus," she whispered. Her voice was rough, a little raw. "You scared the hell out of me." "Sorry." He stepped into the room, pulled out his phone, turned on the light. "I didn't expect anyone else down here." She stayed on her knees, staring at him like he was a ghost. Her face was pale. Her eyes were large and dark and completely unreadable. "Mr. West," she said, "you know who I am?" "Everyone knows who you are." He aimed the light at the generator instead of her face. "You were fixing this." She hesitated. "I used to work in maintenance before I took the cleaning job. I heard the alarms go off and I thought maybe I could help." "Did you?" "The relay switch is fried. Someone overloaded the circuit, probably the HVAC system pulling too much during the storm." She picked up her flashlight, shook it until it flickered back to life. "I bypassed it, but the generator still won't start. There's a secondary issue, maybe the fuel line." Adrian crouched beside her, close enough to see the smudge of grease on her wrist, close enough to smell soap and something faintly floral. "Show me." She looked at him again. This time he caught something in her expression. Uncertainty, maybe. Or disbelief, like she thought he might be testing her. "I'm serious," Adrian said. "But I built this system. Show me what you found." She turned back to the generator and pointed. "Here. The fuel pump isn't priming. If you listen..." She tapped the housing with the screwdriver. "Nothing. It should click." He leaned in. She was right. Silence. "Could be a blockage," he said. "Or the pump's dead." "There's a manual override. We can try that first." They worked together in silence. Adrian found the access hatch. She handed him tools without being asked. Somewhere in the process, he realized she knew the system almost as well as he did. Better, maybe. She anticipated what he needed before he said it. How long did you work in maintenance? He asked. 3 years. Why'd you leave? Her hands stilled. They cut the department. Budget reasons. And you stayed on as a cleaner. I needed the job. He didn't say anything to that. What could he say? He signed the budgets, he approved the cuts. He had never thought about where those people went. The manual override was stuck. Adrian gripped it with both hands and twisted. Nothing. Let me, she said. She moved in front of him, close now, close enough that he felt the heat of her, and wrapped her hands around the lever, just above his. Her knuckles were scarred. Old burns, maybe. She pulled hard, shoulder straining, and the lever gave with a rusty shriek. The fuel pump coughed, clicked, roared to life. The generator shuddered, caught, and settled into a steady growl. Overhead, the lights flickered and came back on. She sat back on her heels, breathing hard. A smile ghosted across her face, just for a second. There, she said. There, Adrian echoed. They stood at the same time. She wiped her hands on her uniform, leaving dark streaks. He saw her clearly now under the fluorescent lights, older than he had first thought. 30, maybe? Tired. There were shadows under her eyes, a small scar above her left eyebrow. She looked like someone who had worked too hard for too long. Thank you, Adrian said. You would have figured it out. Maybe, but you got here first. She shrugged, started gathering her tools. I should get back to my floor. Wait. She stopped but didn't turn around. What's your name? A pause, long enough that he thought she wouldn't answer. Mara, she said finally. Mara Ellis. Mara. He tested the sound of it. You've been avoiding me. Now she turned, looked at him with something between surprise and alarm. What? For weeks. Every time I see you, you look away. You won't make eye contact. He stepped closer, not threatening, just curious. Why? Her jaw tightened. I don't know what you're talking about. You're doing it right now. I'm not. She stopped, took a breath, forced herself to meet his eyes. I'm not avoiding you. Then what is it? The question hung between them. Outside, the storm hammered the building. The generator rumbled. Somewhere far above, the city was coming back to life. Mara looked at him, really looked, for the first time since he had walked into the room, and he saw something crack open in her expression, something she had been holding back. Because, she said quietly, when I look at you, I forget. Forget what? That I'm not supposed to. The words hit him harder than they should have. He didn't know what to say. Didn't know what she meant exactly, but he felt the weight of it. She turned and walked toward the door. Mara. Good night, Mr. West. She was gone before he could stop her. Adrian stood alone in the generator room, surrounded by the smell of oil and ozone, and wondered why his chest felt tight. For the next 2 weeks, he didn't see her. He told himself it didn't matter. She was a cleaner. He was the CEO. They existed in different orbits. What happened in the generator room was a coincidence, nothing more. But he found himself staying late, working past midnight, listening for the sound of a vacuum cleaner in the hallway outside his office. Nothing. On the 15th night, he asked his assistant about her. Mara Ellis, he said. She works the night shift, cleaning crew. His assistant, a sharp woman named Caroline who had been with him for 6 years, raised an eyebrow. Why? She helped me fix the generator during the storm. I wanted to thank her. Caroline's expression didn't change, but Adrian saw the calculation behind it. She was wondering if this was something she needed to manage, some potential scandal. I'll find her file, Caroline said. The file arrived an hour later. Adrian opened it alone in his office. Mara Ellis, 30 years old, employed with West Industries for 3 years, 2 months, started in building maintenance, transferred to cleaning services after departmental restructuring. No disciplinary record. Perfect attendance. 1 emergency contact, none listed. No family, no references, nothing. He closed the file and stared out the window at the city below. Lights stretched to the horizon, millions of people, millions of lives he would never know. Why did this one matter? Butchen. He saw her again on a Tuesday. Adrian was leaving late, past 1 in the morning, and the executive floor was empty. He heard the vacuum before he saw her, a steady hum from the conference room at the end of the hall. He walked toward it, stopped in the doorway. Mara stood with her back to him, guiding the vacuum in long, even strokes across the carpet. She wore the same gray uniform. Her hair was down tonight, falling just past her shoulders. She moved with the practiced efficiency of someone who had done this 1,000 times. Adrian watched her and felt something strange. Not attraction, exactly. Or not just that. It was the way she moved. Careful, deliberate. Like she was afraid of taking up too much space. He knocked on the doorframe. She turned off the vacuum and turned around. Saw him. Her expression went carefully neutral. "Mr. West." "Mara." A beat of silence. "I'm almost done," she said. "I'll be out of your way in a minute." "You're not in my way." She didn't respond to that, just started winding up the vacuum cord. "I haven't seen you in a while," Adrian said. "I've been here. Same shift, same floors." "You've been avoiding this one." She stopped winding the cord, didn't look at him. "I go where I'm assigned." "Caroline reassigned you." Now she looked at him. "Did you ask her to?" "No." "Did you?" Mara's jaw worked. She went back to the cord. "I didn't ask for anything." Adrian stepped into the room. "Then why?" "Why what?" "Why did she move you to a different floor?" "I don't know. Maybe she thought it was better." "Better for who?" "For you." The admission came out flat, resigned, like it was the most obvious thing in the world. Adrian frowned. "I don't understand." Mara finished with the cord and straightened. She looked tired, more than tired, worn. "People talk, Mr. West, especially when the CEO spends 15 minutes in a generator room with someone like me. Someone like you. A cleaner. That's not—" "It is." She cut him off. Calm, matter of fact. "You're the boss, I'm the help. People notice when those lines get blurry. Your assistant was just doing her job, protecting your reputation." Adrian stared at her. "Is that what you think? That I care what people say?" "I think you should." "Why?" "Because you have a daughter." The mention of Sophie stopped him cold. Mara's expression softened. Just a fraction. "I've seen her picture on your desk. She's beautiful. And she doesn't need people whispering about her dad and the woman who cleans his office." Adrian's voice came out rougher than he intended. "There's nothing to whisper about." "Not yet." The two words hung in the air. "What does that mean?" Adrian asked. Mara picked up the vacuum and started toward the door. He stepped aside to let her pass, but she stopped, stood close enough that he could see the gold flecks in her dark eyes. "It means," she said quietly, "that you should stop looking for me." "What if I don't want to?" Her breath caught. For just a second, her guard dropped. He saw something raw underneath. Something lonely. Then she turned and walked away. What? Adrian went home and couldn't sleep. He lived in a penthouse on the Upper West Side. 15 rooms. Floor-to-ceiling windows. A view of Central Park that had cost him $8 million. It was beautiful and cold and empty. Sophie was asleep in her room. Adrian stood in her doorway and watched her breathe. She was 8 years old, small for her age. She had her mother's blonde hair and his gray eyes. Her mother had left when Sophie was 2. Walked out one morning and never came back. No note, no explanation. Just gone. Adrian had hired investigators, lawyers. They found her 6 months later in California with a new name and a new life. She didn't want contact, didn't want custody. She signed away her parental rights without a fight. Sophie didn't remember her. Adrian had made sure of that. Scrubbed the house of photographs. Told his daughter that her mother had been sick. That she had loved Sophie but couldn't stay. It was a lie. But it was a kinder lie than the truth. He closed Sophie's door and went to his own room. Sat on the edge of the bed and thought about Mara Ellis. When I look at you, I forget. Forget what? That they were different? That she cleaned his office and he signed her paycheck? That the world had rules about who belonged with who? He thought about the way she had moved in the generator room, confident, competent, unafraid. And then later, in the conference room, careful, quiet, trying to disappear. 2 different people. Or maybe the same person in two different worlds. Adrian lay back and stared at the ceiling. He thought about her hands, scarred and strong, the way she had pulled that lever when he couldn't. He thought about her eyes when she said not yet. He didn't sleep until dawn. The next night, Adrian went back to the office. He didn't have a reason. No late meetings, no urgent emails. He just went. The executive floor was dark except for his office. He sat at his desk and pretended to work, listened to the building settle around him. At 11:30, he heard the elevator chime. Footsteps in the hallway, soft, measured. The vacuum started in the break room. Adrian stood and walked to the door of his office, looked down the hall, saw the light spilling out from the break room, saw her shadow moving inside. He walked toward it. Mara was emptying the trash when he appeared in the doorway. She saw him and froze. "Hi," Adrian said. She set down the trash bag. "You're working late." "So are you." "It's my job." "Mine too." She almost smiled. Almost. "What do you need, Mr. West?" "Adrian." "What?" "Call me Adrian. Mr. West is my father." She shook her head. "I can't do that." "Why not?" "Because it's not—" She stopped, started again. "Because I work for you." "Not directly." "It doesn't matter." Adrian leaned against the doorframe. "You really think the distance between us is that big?" Mara looked at him like he had just said something unbelievably naive. "Yes." "Why?" "Because you own the building, and I clean it. That's just work. Work is everything," she said. Her voice was quiet but fierce. "Work is how I eat, how I keep a roof over my head. It's not just something I do. It's all I have." The rawness of it stunned him. "I'm sorry," Adrian said. "For what?" "For not understanding that." Mara blinked. She looked away, picked up the trash bag again. "You don't need to apologize. You're not doing anything wrong. Then why does it feel like I am?" She didn't answer. Adrian stepped into the room, closer now, close enough to see the tension in her shoulders. "Can I ask you something?" "You're the boss. You can ask me anything." "Not like that. I'm asking as—" He hesitated. "As someone who wants to know." Mara set down the trash again, turned to face him. "Okay. Why are you afraid of me?" Her eyes widened. "I'm not— You are. I can see it. Every time I'm near you, you look like you want to run. That's not fear." "Then what is it?" She opened her mouth, closed it. For a long moment she just stood there, breathing hard, like she was fighting something inside herself. "It's not you I'm afraid of," she said finally. "It's this." "This?" "The way you look at me. The way I—" She stopped, shook her head. "It doesn't matter." "It does." "No, it doesn't, because even if I wanted—" Her voice cracked. "Even if we both wanted something, it wouldn't work. You know that." Adrian took another step. "Why?" "Because I'm not stupid. I know how this goes. Rich man, poor woman. Everyone assumes I'm after your money, your connections, your name." Her hands clenched into fists. "And maybe I should be. Maybe that would be smarter, but I'm not. I don't want those things." "Then what do you want?" The question came out softer than he intended. Mara looked at him, really looked. And Adrian saw everything she was trying to hide. Loneliness, longing, fear, hope, all tangled together. "I want," she whispered, "to stop feeling like I'm invisible." The words broke something in him. Adrian crossed the room, stopped in front of her, close enough to touch, but he didn't. He just stood there, holding her gaze. "You're not invisible," he said. "Not to me." Mara's breath shuddered. Tears welled in her eyes, but she blinked them back. "You should go." "Why?" "Because if you stay, I'll do something stupid." "Like what?" "Like believe you." Adrian reached out, slowly, gave her time to pull away. She didn't. His fingers brushed hers, just barely. A whisper of contact. "Believe me," he said. Mara closed her eyes. A single tear slid down her cheek. Then she stepped back, pulled her hand away. "Good night, Mr. West." She walked past him and out of the room. left him standing alone in the fluorescent light. Adrian stayed there for a long time, staring at the space where she had been, feeling the ghost of her hand against his. The pattern repeated. Adrian came to the office late. Mara cleaned, they talked, short conversations, careful, like they were both testing the weight of something fragile. He learned things about her in pieces. Small details she let slip. She lived in Brooklyn, took the subway every night, had lived in New York for 12 years. She didn't talk about her past, didn't mention family. When he asked, she changed the subject, but she asked about him, about Sophie, about what it was like to raise a daughter alone. "It's hard," Adrian admitted one night. They were in the copy room. She was refilling paper. He was pretending to check the printer. "I don't always know if I'm doing it right." "Does anyone?" "I don't know. My father sure as hell didn't." Mara glanced at him. "You don't talk about him much." "There's not much to say. He was an asshole, drunk, mean. He wanted me to be like him. I became the opposite." "That's not nothing." Adrian smiled faintly. "Maybe." "Sophie's lucky," Mara said. "She has you." "Sometimes I wonder if that's enough." "It is." The certainty in her voice surprised him. "How do you know?" Mara closed the paper tray and straightened. "Because you care enough to wonder. That's more than a lot of kids get." There was something in her tone, something personal. "Did you have that?" Adrian asked. "Someone who wondered?" Mara's expression shuddered. No, she didn't elaborate. Adrian didn't push. On a Friday night, 3 weeks after the storm, Adrian brought dinner. He showed up at 11 with Thai food from a place near his apartment, set it on the conference table, waited. Mara arrived at 11:15, stopped in the doorway when she saw him, saw the food. "What is this?" she asked. "Dinner." "I ate already." "Liar." Her mouth twitched, almost a smile. "You can't just—" "I can. I did. Sit." She hesitated. Then slowly, she crossed the room and sat down. Adrian pushed a container toward her. Pad Thai. Extra peanuts. "How did you know I like this?" she asked. "I guessed." They ate in silence for a while. The food was good. The silence was better. "This is weird," Mara said finally. "What is?" "You, me, this." She gestured at the table. "We don't make sense." "Why not?" "Because you're—" She stopped, started again. "Because people like you don't do this with people like me. People like me. Rich, powerful, important." Adrian set down his fork. "And people like you are what? Less important?" "That's not what I meant." "Then what did you mean?" Mara's jaw tightened. "I meant that I know how the world works. I'm not naive, and neither are you. Maybe I'm tired of how the world works." She laughed. It was a bitter sound. "You can afford to be. I can't." "What does that mean?" "It means that if this, whatever this is, goes wrong, you'll be fine. You'll move on. But I'll lose everything." Adrian stared at her. "You think I'd do that to you?" "I think you wouldn't mean to, but it would happen anyway." She pushed her food away. "That's how it always happens." "Who hurt you, Mara?" The question came out before he could stop it. Mara flinched. "It doesn't matter." "It does." "No, it doesn't. Because whoever they were, they're gone. And I survived. That's what I do. I survive." Her voice was hard, defensive. But underneath, Adrian heard the pain. "You shouldn't have to just survive," he said quietly. Mara looked at him. Something in her expression cracked. "What else is there?" "More. Better. Something that doesn't feel like drowning." She shook her head. "You don't understand." "Then help me." "I can't." "Why not?" "Because," her voice broke, "because if I let you in, if I let myself believe this is real, and it falls apart, I won't survive that. I won't." The confession hung between them. Adrian reached across the table, took her hand. This time she didn't pull away. "I'm not going to hurt you," he said. "You can't promise that." "I can try." Mara's fingers tightened around his. "Why do you even care?" "I don't know, but I do." She closed her eyes. Tears leaked from the corners. Adrian stood, walked around the table, knelt beside her chair. She turned toward him, and he saw everything she was holding back. Years of loneliness, fear, hope, desperation. "I see you, Mara," he said. "I see you." She broke, leaned forward and buried her face in his shoulder. Her body shook with silent sobs. Adrian wrapped his arms around her and held on, felt her tears soak through his shirt, felt her hands clutch at his back like she was afraid he would disappear. He didn't let go. They stayed like that for a long time, long enough for her sobs to quiet, long enough for her breathing to steady. When she finally pulled back, her eyes were red. Her face was blotchy. She looked wrecked and raw and beautiful. "I'm sorry," she whispered. "Don't be." "I shouldn't have Mara, don't." She wiped her face with the back of her hand. "This is a mess." "Yeah. We should stop." "Probably." "But you're not going to, are you?" Adrian smiled. "No." Mara laughed. It was a broken, fragile sound. "You're an idiot." "Maybe." She looked at him for a long moment. Then slowly she leaned forward and pressed her forehead to his. "What are we doing?" she whispered. "I don't know, but I don't want to stop." "Me neither." They stayed like that, breathing the same air, afraid to move, afraid to break whatever this was. Outside, the city hummed, the building settled, the world kept turning. But in that moment, in that small conference room on the 63rd floor, it was just the two of them. And that was enough. The following Tuesday, Mara didn't show up. Adrian stayed until midnight, walked the empty hallways, listened for the sound of her vacuum. Nothing. Just silence and the hum of the air conditioning and the distant wail of sirens from the street below. He told himself not to worry. People got sick. People had emergencies. It didn't mean anything. By Wednesday, worry became something heavier. He found Caroline in her office at 8 in the morning, already on her second coffee. "Mara Ellis," he said without preamble. "The cleaner. Has she called in?" Caroline looked up from her computer. Her expression was carefully neutral. "I'd have to check with facilities management." "Then check." She studied him for a moment. "Is there a problem?" "I just need to know if she's all right." "Mr. West? Adrian?" Caroline sighed, set down her coffee. "She took personal leave. 3 days. That's all I know." "When did she request it?" "Monday afternoon. The day after they had dinner. After she cried in his arms. After everything changed. Adrian felt something cold settle in his chest. "Did she say why?" "Personal leave doesn't require an explanation." He turned to go. "Adrian," Caroline said. He stopped. "Whatever you're thinking of doing, don't." "I'm not thinking anything." "Yes, you are, and it's a bad idea." He looked back at her. "Why?" "Because she's smart enough to know what this looks like. And so are you." Caroline's voice was gentle but firm. "Let her have her space. If she wants to reach out, she will." Adrian didn't answer, just walked out. He went back to his office and tried to work. Made it through 2 emails before he opened Mara's personnel file again. Stared at the blank line where her emergency contact should have been. No one. She had no one. The thought made him angry. Not at her. At the world. At whatever had shaped her into someone so alone that she couldn't list a single person to call if something went wrong. He picked up his phone, put it down, picked it up again. Caroline was right. He shouldn't push. Mara had made her choice. She needed space. He should respect that. But respect felt like abandonment. Adrian stood and grabbed his coat. He had a daughter to pick up from school anyway. He could think about this later, except he couldn't stop thinking about it. Sophie climbed into the car, chattering about her day. Something about a science project and a kid named Marcus who kept stealing her erasers. Adrian made the right noises, asked the right questions, but his mind was elsewhere. "Dad," Sophie said, "are you listening?" He glanced at her in the rearview mirror. "Yes. Marcus is a eraser thief. We should press charges." She giggled. "You're not funny." "I'm a little funny." "No, you're distracted. Smart kid. Too smart sometimes." "I'm fine, Soph." "You've been weird lately." "Weird how?" "I don't know. You smile more, but you also look sad." Adrian's hands tightened on the steering wheel. I'm not sad. Then what? He didn't have an answer for that. They got home. Sophie did homework while Adrian made dinner. Pasta. Overcooked. Sophie ate it without complaining because she was good like that. After she went to bed, Adrian sat in his study and stared at his phone. He typed a message, deleted it, typed another one, deleted that too. Finally, he wrote, "Are you okay?" His thumb hovered over the send button. He didn't press it. Instead, he opened his laptop and did something he had been avoiding. He searched for Mara's name, social media, public records, anything. He found almost nothing. No Facebook, no Instagram, no Twitter. There was a Mara Ellis in Brooklyn who ran a pottery studio, but the photo was of a woman in her 60s. Another Mara Ellis worked as a nurse in Boston. His Mara, if he could even call her that, didn't exist online. Adrian widened the search. Criminal records, court documents, nothing. Then he tried something else, searched her address from the personnel file. It came back to a building in East New York, a walk-up in a neighborhood with boarded windows and chain-link fences. Google Street View showed graffiti on the walls, trash on the sidewalk. Adrian stared at the screen. She lived there, in that building, in that neighborhood, and she took the subway every night at 11:30 to clean office buildings for people like him. The weight of it crushed him. He closed the laptop, sat in the dark, thought about the gap between their lives. The distance, she said, was too wide to cross. Maybe she was right, but maybe she was wrong. Mara came back on Friday. Adrian was in a board meeting when Caroline texted him. She's here, working her regular shift. He made it through the rest of the meeting on autopilot, nodded at the right times, signed off on the quarterly projections, didn't hear a word. At 11, he was back in his office, waiting. She arrived at 11:20. He heard the elevator, heard her footsteps, held his breath. The vacuum started in the hallway. Adrian stood and walked to his door, looked out. Mara was there. Same gray uniform, same ponytail, same careful, deliberate movements. But something was different. She looked thinner, more fragile, like she hadn't slept or eaten properly in days. Mara. She turned off the vacuum, looked at him. Her face was a mask, blank, unrevealing. "Mr. West," the formality stung. "Can we talk?" Adrian asked. "I'm working." "I know. After?" "I don't think that's a good idea." "Please." She hesitated. He saw the conflict in her eyes, the part of her that wanted to say yes, fighting the part that knew she shouldn't. 5 minutes, she said finally. Adrian nodded. "My office." She finished the hallway in silence, put the vacuum away. Came to his office door and stopped just outside. Didn't come in. "Where were you?" Adrian asked. "I took personal leave." "I know that. I'm asking why." Mara crossed her arms, defensive. "I needed time to think." "About what?" "About this. Us. Whatever we're doing." And I think we should stop." The words came out flat, rehearsed, like she had been practicing them. Adrian stepped closer. "I don't believe you. It doesn't matter what you believe." "Yes, it does. Because I know you, Mara. I know you're scared, but I also know you don't want this to end." Her jaw clenched. "You don't know anything about me." "Then tell me. Help me understand." "Understand what?" "Why you ran." Her eyes flashed. "I didn't run. You disappeared for 3 days without a word. I'm allowed to take time off. I'm not talking about the time off. I'm talking about the fact that you're standing in the hallway instead of coming into my office. That you won't look at me. That you're calling me Mr. West again." Adrian's voice was rough, raw. "I'm talking about the fact that you're trying to put the distance back between us, and I don't understand why." Mara's mask cracked, just a little. "Because it's safer." "For who?" "For both of us." "I don't feel safer." "Well, you should." Her voice rose. "You should feel relieved. You should be thanking me for walking away before this gets complicated." "It's already complicated." "Then let me make it simple." She stepped into the office now, close enough that he could see the exhaustion in her face, the hurt. "You're a billionaire. I clean toilets. You live in a penthouse. I live in a shithole apartment with mice in the walls. You have a daughter who needs stability, and I'm a mess. We don't work. We never will. Adrian didn't flinch. Are you done? What? Are you done listing all the reasons we're wrong for each other? Mara stared at him. You're not hearing me. I'm hearing you. I just don't agree. Adrian, you're not a mess, Mara. You're careful. You're smart. You're surviving in a world that's been unfair to you. That's not weakness. That's strength. Her eyes filled with tears. Stop. No. You don't know what you're asking for? Then tell me. She turned away, pressed her hands to her face. Her shoulders shook. Adrian moved closer, stopped just behind her, didn't touch. Talk to me. I can't. Why not? Because I've spent my whole life keeping people out. It's how I survive. And if I let you in, if I let myself believe this is real and it goes wrong, her voice broke. Adrian reached out, gently turned her around. She didn't resist. What happened to you? He asked softly. Mara shook her head, tears streamed down her face. Please. She took a shuddering breath. I grew up in foster care, 17 different homes before I aged out at 18. Some were okay. Most weren't. I learned early that people don't stay. They don't keep promises. They don't choose you unless they want something. The words came out in a rush, like a dam breaking. I put myself through community college, worked 3 jobs, got my certificate in electrical systems. Thought that would be enough. Thought I could build something stable. She laughed bitterly. But stable doesn't exist, not for people like me. I got laid off. Couldn't find another job in my field. Took the cleaning position because it was all I could get. And I've been trying to hold on ever since. Adrian's chest ached. Mara. So when you ask me to trust you, to believe that this is real, I want to. I really do. But I don't know how. Because every time I've trusted someone, every time I've let myself hope, it's fallen apart. And I can't. Her voice cracked again. I can't do that again. I can't. Adrian pulled her close. She resisted for half a second, then collapsed against him, sobbed into his chest while he held her. I'm not them, he whispered into her hair. I'm not going to leave. You don't know that. I do. How? Because I feel it too. Mara pulled back, looked up at him with red, swollen eyes. Feel what? This. Whatever this is. I feel it, and it scares the hell out of me because I haven't felt anything like it in years. But I'm not running. I'm standing right here, and I'm asking you to stay. She searched his face, looking for the lie, the catch, the hidden price. I don't have anything to give you, she said. I'm not asking for anything. Everyone asks for something. Then I'm different. She wanted to believe him. He could see it, the war in her eyes between hope and fear. This won't work, she whispered. Maybe not, but we won't know unless we try. People will talk. Let them. They'll say I'm using you. I don't care. Your daughter deserves to see her father happy, and you make me happy, Mara. The confession seemed to startle both of them. Mara's breath caught. You barely know me. I know enough. No, you don't. You know the parts I've let you see, but there's more, and it's not good. Show me anyway. Adrian, show me. She stared at him. Then, slowly, she nodded. They sat on the floor of his office, backs against the window. The city glittered below them. Mara talked. About the homes, the families who took her in for the government check and nothing else. The ones who were kind but overwhelmed. The ones who were cruel. She talked about aging out with $400 and a trash bag full of clothes. Sleeping in her car for 2 months. Working night shifts at a gas station while studying during the day. She talked about the man she had dated at 23. The one who said he loved her and then stole her savings and disappeared. She talked about the loneliness. The way it felt to come home every night to an empty apartment. To eat dinner alone. To wonder if anyone would notice if she just stopped showing up. Adrian listened. Didn't interrupt. Didn't try to fix it. Just listened. When she finished, her voice was hoarse. Her eyes were dry. She had cried herself out. That's who I am, she said. That's what you're signing up for. Adrian took her hand, laced their fingers together. Okay. Okay? Okay. She laughed. It was a broken sound. You're insane. Probably. This is a mistake. Maybe. You should walk away. I won't. Mara turned to look at him. Really look. Why? Adrian thought about it. About Sophie. About the years he had spent alone, building walls, protecting himself from anything that might hurt. About the way Mara had pulled that lever in the generator room. The way she had cried in his arms. The way she looked at him like he was worth something. Because, he said, you're the first person in a long time who's looked at me and seen Adrian. Not the CEO, not the billionaire, not Sophie's dad, just me. And I forgot what that felt like. Mara's eyes filled again. I'm going to mess this up. So will I. I'm serious. So am I. She leaned her head on his shoulder, exhaled. I don't know how to do this. Neither do I. We'll figure it out. What if we can't? Then at least we tried. They sat there in silence, two broken people on the floor of an empty office. Outside, the city hummed. The world kept turning, but for the first time in a long time, neither of them felt alone. When Mara finally left at 3 a.m, Adrian walked her to the elevator. Tomorrow? He asked. She hesitated, then nodded. Tomorrow. The elevator doors closed. Adrian stood there for a long time, staring at his reflection in the polished steel. He was smiling. The next night, Mara brought dinner. Nothing fancy, sandwiches from a deli near her apartment. But she brought them, set them on the conference table, waited. Adrian arrived at 11:30, saw the food, looked at her. I figured it was my turn, she said. They ate and talked. Easy conversation this time, lighter. She asked about Sophie, about what it was like raising a daughter alone. Adrian told her about the hard parts, the school pickups he missed, the parent-teacher conferences where he felt like an imposter, the fear that he was screwing it all up. You're not, Mara said. How do you know? Because you care. That's more than most people get. It was the same thing she had said before, but this time Adrian heard the weight behind it. Did you have that? He asked. Someone who cared? Mara picked at her sandwich. Once, a foster mom named Linda. I was with her for 2 years when I was 14. She was kind. She tried. Mara's voice went soft. But then her husband got transferred. They moved to Oregon. I didn't fit into the new life they were building. I'm sorry. She shrugged. It's fine. I survived. You shouldn't have had to just survive. Mara looked at him. You keep saying that. Because it's true. Maybe. But it doesn't change anything. Adrian reached across the table, took her hand. It could. How? Let me help you. Her hand stiffened. Help me how? I don't know. Whatever you need. Mara pulled her hand back. I don't need your money, Adrian. I didn't say money. That's what you meant. No, it's not. He leaned forward. I meant help, support, someone to lean on. Whatever that looks like for you. Why? Because I want to. That's not a reason. It's the only one I have. Mara stood, paced to the window, stared out at the city. You don't understand. If I let you help me, people will say I'm using you. They'll say I planned this, that I'm some kind of... I don't care what people say. You should. You have a reputation, a company, a daughter. And I have you. The words stopped her. She turned. You don't have me. Not really. We've known each other for a month. Feels longer. That's not how time works. Adrian stood, crossed to her. Then how does it work? Tell me the rules, Mara. Tell me how long we have to know each other before this is real, before I'm allowed to care about you. She opened her mouth, closed it. There are no rules, Adrian said. We make them up as we go. That's terrifying. I know. Mara's hands clenched into fists. I can't be what you need. You already are. No. You think I am, but you don't know me. Not really. You know the version of me that shows up here. The one who's careful and polite and doesn't make waves. But there's another version. The one who's angry and damaged and human, Adrian interrupted. You're human, Mara. That's all. And so am I. She stared at him. You make it sound simple. It is simple. We both like each other. We both want this. Everything else is noise. The noise is loud. Then we'll be louder. Mara laughed. It was a real laugh this time, surprised and genuine. You're ridiculous. I've been called worse. She shook her head, looked down. I'm scared. Me too. What are you scared of? Adrian thought about it. That I'll mess this up, that I'll hurt you without meaning to, that you'll realize I'm not worth the risk. Mara's eyes softened. You're worth it. So are you. They stood there, close, but not touching. The space between them charged with everything they weren't saying. I should go, Mara said. I still have 3 floors to clean. Skip them. I can't. Why not? Because it's my job. I'm the CEO. I'm giving you permission. She almost smiled. That's not how it works. Then how does it work? I don't know, but not like that. Adrian stepped closer. Stay. Adrian, just for a little while, please. Mara bit her lip. He saw the battle in her eyes. The part of her that wanted to say yes fighting the part that knew she should leave. Okay, she said finally. A little while. They went back to the table, finished their sandwiches, talked about nothing, about everything. Mara told him about the subway ride home, the people she saw, the woman who always carried a bird cage covered with a towel, the man who read Russian novels and never looked up. Adrian told her about Sophie's obsession with dinosaurs, the way she corrected him when he called a brachiosaurus a brontosaurus. The time she had cried for an hour because they didn't have stegosaurus-shaped chicken nuggets at the store. It was easy, comfortable, like they had been doing this for years instead of weeks. At 2 a.m, Mara finally stood to leave. Thank you, she said. For what? For tonight? For listening? For not running when I told you all my terrible stuff? Adrian stood. Your stuff isn't terrible. It's not great. It's real. That's what matters. Mara looked at him. Then, before she could second-guess herself, she leaned up and kissed his cheek. It was quick, barely a brush of lips against skin, but it sent electricity through him. She pulled back, her face flushed. Good night, Adrian. Good night, Mara. She walked to the elevator, pressed the button, didn't look back. Adrian stood in the hallway and touched his cheek where her lips had been. He was still smiling when he got home. The following week, everything shifted. It started small, a rumor. Whispers in the break room. Adrian West and the cleaning woman, meeting late at night, eating dinner together, getting close. Caroline heard it first. Came to Adrian's office on Wednesday morning with her jaw tight and her shoulders squared. We have a problem, she said. Adrian looked up from his laptop. What kind of problem? The kind where people are talking about you and Mara Ellis. His stomach dropped. What are they saying? That she's sleeping with you for job security, that she's pregnant and trying to trap you, that you're having some kind of midlife crisis. Caroline's voice was clinical, professional. None of it's true, I assume. No, it's not. Then what is true? Adrian leaned back in his chair. We're friends. Friends. Yes. Friends who have dinner alone at midnight. Yes. Caroline studied him. You know how this looks? I don't care how it looks. You should, because this kind of talk can damage your reputation, the company's reputation, and hers. Adrian's jaw clenched. What do you want me to do? End it, whatever it is, before it gets worse. No. Caroline blinked. No? No. Adrian, I'm not ending anything. If people want to talk, let them talk. But I'm not walking away from her because of gossip. Caroline's expression was unreadable. You care about her. It wasn't a question. Yes. Enough to risk everything? Adrian thought about Mara, about the way she laughed, the way she cried, the way she looked at him like he mattered. Yes, he said. Caroline was quiet for a long moment. Then she nodded. Okay. Okay. I'll do damage control, but Adrian, you need to be careful. People can be cruel, especially to women in her position. I know. Do you? Because if this goes public, she's going to take the brunt of it, not you. The words hit him like a punch. Then we'll protect her. How? I don't know yet, but we will. Caroline left. Adrian sat alone in his office and felt the first stirrings of panic. He had been naive, thinking they could exist in their own bubble, that the world wouldn't notice, wouldn't care. But the world always noticed, and it always cared. He texted Mara, "Can we talk tonight?" She didn't respond until 10. "I'm here." Adrian found her in the supply closet. She was restocking paper towels, her face carefully blank. "You heard," he said. "Heard what?" "The rumors." Her hands stilled. "There are always rumors." It's fine." "It's not fine." She turned to face him. Her eyes were hard, guarded. "What do you want me to say, Adrian? That I'm surprised?" "I'm not. This is exactly what I said would happen." "I know, and I'm sorry. Don't apologize. You didn't start the rumors." "But I didn't stop them either. How could you?" She laughed bitterly. "People talk. That's what they do, especially when someone like me gets close to someone like you." "There is no someone like you and someone like me. There's just us." "That's not how the world sees it." Adrian stepped closer. "Then the world is wrong." "Maybe, but the world doesn't care if it's wrong. It just cares about the story." She crossed her arms. "And the story is that I'm a gold digger, an opportunist, a woman who saw a rich man and decided to cash in." "That's not true." "I know it's not true. You know it's not true. But it doesn't matter, because that's what they believe." "Then we'll prove them wrong." "How?" "I don't know. But we will." Mara shook her head. "You're not hearing me. This isn't about proving anything. This is about survival. And I can't survive this job if people think I'm sleeping with the boss." Adrian's blood went cold. "You're going to quit." "I don't know." "Mara, I need this job, Adrian. I need the paycheck, the insurance. I can't just throw it away." "Then don't. Stay. Fight." "Fight what? Gossip? Rumors? You can't fight that. It just spreads." "So what do we do?" Mara looked at him. Her eyes were tired, resigned. "We stop. We go back to how it was before." "I don't want that." "Neither do I. But it's safer." "Safer for who?" "For me." The words hung between them. Adrian wanted to argue, to fight, to tell her she was wrong. But he saw the fear in her eyes, the exhaustion, the resignation. She had been fighting her whole life, and she was tired. "Okay," he said quietly. Mara blinked. "Okay? If that's what you need, okay." She stared at him. "You're giving up." "No, I'm respecting your choice." "Adrian." "But I'm not walking away, Mara. I'm still here. And when you're ready, when you feel safe, I'll still be here." Her face crumpled. "That's not fair." "What's not fair?" "You, the way you make me want things I can't have." Adrian crossed the distance between them, took her face in his hands. "You can have them. You can have anything you want." "No, I can't." "Yes, you can." Mara closed her eyes. Tears leaked from the corners. "I'm so tired." "I know. I don't know what to do." "Then let me help you figure it out." She opened her eyes, looked at him, and Adrian saw the crack in her armor, the place where hope was starting to bleed through. "One day at a time," he said softly. "That's all we have to do. One day at a time." Mara nodded. "Okay. Okay." She leaned into him. He wrapped his arms around her and held on. Outside the supply closet, the building was quiet. The city slept. The rumors spread. But in that moment, they had each other, and for now, that was enough. The rumors didn't stop. They got worse. By the end of the week, someone had posted about it on an internal message board. Anonymous, of course. A thread titled, "Guess Who's Sleeping Their Way to the Top?" Caroline showed it to Adrian on Friday afternoon. He read 3 comments before he closed the laptop. "Take it down," he said. "Already did, but people took screenshots." "Then fire whoever started it. We can't prove who it was. Anonymous posts don't leave a trail." Adrian stood and walked to the window. His hands were shaking. He shoved them in his pockets. "What are they saying about her?" Caroline hesitated. "Tell me." "That she's pregnant. That she quit her old job because she got caught with a supervisor. That she has a criminal record." Caroline's voice was flat, clinical. "None of it's true. I checked." "Of course it's not true." But people believe it anyway. Adrian turned. Where is she? I don't know. She clocked in at her normal time, but he was already moving. Out of his office, down the hall, he took the stairs instead of the elevator, descended 3 floors to where the cleaning staff kept their equipment. The supply room was empty. So was the break room. He checked the bathrooms. Nothing. Finally, he found her in a stairwell on the 58th floor, sitting on the concrete steps with her head in her hands. Mara. She looked up. Her eyes were red. Her face was blotchy. She had been crying. You shouldn't be here, she said. Adrian sat down beside her. Neither should you. I'm on break. For the last 3 hours? She didn't answer. Adrian reached for her hand. She let him take it. Her fingers were cold. Talk to me, he said. There's nothing to talk about. That's not true. Mara pulled her hand away, wiped her face. Someone spray-painted whore on my locker. The words hit him like a fist. What? My locker. In the staff room. Someone spray-painted it. Her voice was hollow. Maintenance already cleaned it, but everyone saw it first. Adrian felt rage bubble up in his chest, hot and sharp. Who did it? I don't know. Does it matter? Yes, it matters. Why? So you can fire them? That'll just make it worse. I don't care. Well, I do. Mara stood, started pacing. Don't you get it? This is my life. These are the people I work with. If you go on some crusade to defend me, it'll just prove what they already think. Which is what? That I'm using you, that I'm some kind of... Her voice broke. I can't do this, Adrian. I can't walk into work every day and have people look at me like I'm dirt. Then don't. She stopped pacing. What? Don't come back. I need this job. I'll take care of you. The offer hung in the air. Mara stared at him. Then she laughed. It was a bitter, broken sound. You'll take care of me. Jesus Christ, do you hear yourself? I'm trying to help. No, you're trying to fix this, but you can't fix it by throwing money at me. That just makes it worse. Then what do you want me to do? Nothing. I want you to do nothing. I can't do that. Why not? Because I care about you. Mara turned away. You barely know me. That's not true. Yes, it is. You know the version of me I let you see. The one who's grateful and sweet and doesn't make waves, but you don't know the rest. Then show me. I already did. Show me again. She spun around. Her eyes were blazing. I'm angry, Adrian. I'm so angry I can barely breathe. And I hate that I care what these people think. I hate that their words matter. I hate that I'm standing here crying instead of fighting back. I hate... Her voice broke. She pressed her hands to her face. Adrian stood, cross to her. You have every right to be angry. It doesn't change anything. It changes how you feel, and that matters. Does it? Because I still have to go back out there. I still have to face them. Not alone. Mara dropped her hands. What are you going to do? Hold my hand while I clean toilets? Stand next to me while people whisper? If that's what it takes. That's insane. Maybe, but I mean it. She searched his face, looking for the lie. The moment when he would realize this was too hard, too messy, too much. She didn't find it. Why? She whispered. Because you matter, and they don't get to treat you like this. They already are. Then we'll stop them. How? Adrian didn't have an answer, not yet, but he would find one. He pulled her close. She resisted for half a second, then gave in, buried her face in his chest and let herself break. They stayed like that for a long time. Until her sobs quieted, until her breathing steadied, until the anger burned itself out and left only exhaustion. I'm so tired, she whispered. I know. I don't know how much more I can take. Then don't take any more. Let me carry it for a while. Mara pulled back, looked up at him with swollen eyes. You can't carry this. It's not your burden. It is now. Adrian, I'm not letting you go through this alone, Mara. I don't care what it costs me. Her face crumpled again. It'll cost you everything. Then it's worth it. She shook her head. You're crazy. Probably. This is a mistake. Maybe. We should stop before it gets worse. Do you want to stop? The question hung between them. Mara looked at him, really looked, and Adrian saw the war in her eyes, fear and hope, anger and longing, everything tangled together. "No," she said finally. "I don't want to stop." "Then we won't. Even if it destroys us, we're already being destroyed. At least this way, we're together." Mara laughed. It was watery and broken, but it was real. "That's the worst logic I've ever heard." "I'm not known for my logic." "Apparently not." Adrian cupped her face in his hands, wiped away her tears with his thumbs. "One day at a time, remember? One day at a time. We can do this. Can we?" "We have to." Mara closed her eyes, leaned into his touch. "Okay. Okay." They stood there in the stairwell, two people holding on to each other while the world tried to tear them apart. It wasn't enough, but it was all they had. The following Monday, Adrian called a company-wide meeting. Caroline tried to talk him out of it. "This is a bad idea." "Noted." "Adrian, you can't publicly acknowledge this. It'll just fan the flames." "Good. Let them burn." "You're not thinking clearly." "I'm thinking perfectly clearly. People are attacking Mara because they think I won't defend her. I'm going to prove them wrong." Caroline studied him for a long moment. "You really care about her?" "Yes." "More than your reputation?" "Yes." "More than the company?" Adrian met her eyes. "If this company can't survive me having a relationship with someone, then it doesn't deserve to survive." Caroline was quiet. Then she nodded. "Okay, I'll set up the meeting." "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. This could blow up in your face." "I know." The meeting was scheduled for Tuesday at noon, all staff, mandatory attendance. Adrian didn't tell Mara. He knew she would try to stop him. The auditorium was packed, every seat filled, people standing in the back, whispers running through the crowd like wildfire. Adrian walked onto the stage. The room fell silent. He stood at the podium and looked out at the sea of faces, some curious, some hostile, some afraid. "I'm going to keep this brief," he said. His voice echoed through the speakers. "It's come to my attention that there have been rumors circulating about me and a member of our staff. Rumors that are cruel, unfounded, and completely unacceptable." The whispers started again. Adrian raised his hand. Silence fell. "I don't usually address gossip, but when that gossip becomes harassment, when it becomes vandalism, when it becomes an attack on someone's character and livelihood, I have to speak up." He paused. Let the words sink in. "Mara Ellis is an employee of this company. She works hard. She shows up every night and does her job with professionalism and dignity. And she deserves to be treated with respect, not because of her relationship with me, but because she's a human being." Someone in the crowd shifted. Adrian saw it. The discomfort, the realization that they had been called out. "I don't owe anyone an explanation about my personal life, but I'm going to give you one anyway. Mara and I are friends. We spend time together. We talk. We share meals. And yes, I care about her." His voice hardened. "And if that makes you uncomfortable, if that offends your sense of propriety, I don't care. Because what I do care about is the fact that someone spray-painted a slur on her locker, that people have been spreading lies about her, that she's been made to feel unsafe in her own workplace." The room was dead silent now. "So here's what's going to happen. Effective immediately, HR will be investigating every instance of harassment related to this situation. If you participated, if you spread rumors, if you vandalized property, you will be held accountable. This company has a zero-tolerance policy for harassment, and I intend to enforce it." He gripped the podium. "And if anyone has a problem with that, with me, with Mara, you're welcome to bring it to my office. But you will not harass her. You will not spread lies. And you will not make her work environment hostile. Am I clear?" No one spoke. "Am I clear?" Adrian repeated, louder this time. A few murmured yeses, then more, then a ripple of acknowledgement through the crowd. "Good. Meeting adjourned." Adrian walked off the stage. The room erupted in whispers behind him. Caroline was waiting in the hallway. "Well, that happened. How bad?" "Bad, but maybe necessary." She handed him her phone. "Mara called 3 times. Adrian's stomach dropped. "Is she okay?" "She's in your office." He didn't wait, just ran. Mara was standing at the window when he walked in. Her arms were crossed. Her shoulders were rigid. You saw the meeting, Adrian said. Everyone saw the meeting. It's already on the company intranet. Mara shit. She turned. Her face was pale. Her eyes were wide. What did you do? I defended you. You humiliated me. The words were a punch to the gut. What? You stood in front of the entire company and announced that we're together, that you care about me, that I need protection. Her voice rose. Do you have any idea what that looks like? It looks like I'm standing up for you. No, it looks like I can't fight my own battles. It looks like I'm weak, like I need a man to rescue me. That's not what I meant. It doesn't matter what you meant. That's what it is. She pressed her hands to her face. Jesus Christ, Adrian, I asked you to do nothing. I begged you, and you did the exact opposite. I couldn't just stand by and let them attack you. Why not? I've been attacked before. I've survived. You shouldn't have to just survive. There it is again? She dropped her hands, laughed bitterly. You keep saying that, like survival is some kind of failure. But for people like me, survival is victory. It's all we get. And you just took that away from me. Adrian felt his chest tighten. I was trying to help. I didn't ask for your help. I know, but I gave it anyway. That's the problem. Mara's voice cracked. You didn't ask. You didn't consider what I wanted. You just decided you knew best and did it, because I care about you. Caring about me doesn't mean controlling the narrative. It doesn't mean making decisions for me. Adrian stepped closer. You're right. Mara blinked. What? You're right. I should have talked to you first. I should have asked. I'm sorry. She stared at him. That's it? You're just going to apologize? What else do you want me to do? I don't know. Defend yourself. Make excuses. Tell me I'm being ungrateful. You're not being ungrateful. You're being honest. Mara's jaw worked. I hate that you do this. Do what? Admit when you're wrong. It makes it harder to stay angry at you. Adrian almost smiled. Is that a bad thing? Yes, because I need to be angry right now. Her voice broke. She turned away. I need to feel something other than scared. Adrian crossed to her, stopped just behind her. What are you scared of? That this is it. That we just crossed a line we can't uncross. That tomorrow everyone's going to look at me and know exactly who I am and what I mean to you, and I won't be able to hide anymore. Maybe hiding isn't the answer. It's kept me safe this long. Has it? Or has it just kept you alone? Mara turned. There were tears on her cheeks. That's not fair. I'm not trying to be fair. I'm trying to be honest. Honest about what? About the fact that I'm tired of pretending this doesn't matter. That you don't matter. Adrian's voice was rough, raw. I stood up there and told the truth because I'm tired of hiding. And yeah, maybe I should have asked you first. Maybe I should have thought it through. But I don't regret it. You should. Why? Because now everyone knows. And once everyone knows, there's no going back. Good. Mara stared at him. You're serious? Yes. You really don't care what people think. Not when it comes to you. She shook her head. You're going to regret this. Maybe, but I'll regret losing you more. The confession hung between them. Mara's breath caught. Adrian, I know it's too soon. I know we barely know each other. I know all the logical reasons why this is a bad idea. He stepped closer. But I don't care. Because when I'm with you, I feel like myself. Not the CEO, not the billionaire, not Sophie's dad. Just me. And I forgot what that felt like. Tears streamed down Mara's face. You're making this really hard. Making what hard? Walking away. Adrian's heart stopped. Is that what you're doing? I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing. She pressed her hands to her face. All I know is that this is getting out of control, and I don't know how to stop it. Then don't stop it. Let it happen. What if it destroys us? What if it doesn't? Mara dropped her hands, looked at him with red, swollen eyes. You really believe that? That we can survive this? I have to, because the alternative is giving up, and I'm not ready to do that. What if I am? The question was soft, broken. Adrian felt something crack in his chest. Are you? Mara opened her mouth, closed it, looked away. Mara, look at me. She did, slowly, reluctantly. Are you giving up? Adrian asked. A long pause, then quietly. No. Then we keep going. Even if it gets worse? Even then, Mara closed her eyes. You're insane. You've said that before. It's still true. Adrian reached for her hand. She let him take it. One day at a time. One day at a time. They stood there, holding on to each other. Outside the office, the company buzzed with gossip. The internet exploded with speculation. The world kept turning. But in that moment, they had each other. And for now, that was enough. That night, Mara didn't go home. She didn't plan it, didn't decide. It just happened. Adrian asked if she wanted a ride. She said yes. He drove her to Brooklyn, pulled up outside her building. This is it, she said. Adrian looked at the building. 5 stories. Crumbling brick. Bars on the windows, graffiti on the door. Can I come up? He asked. Mara hesitated. It's not nice. I don't care. Adrian, please, she sighed. Okay, but don't say I didn't warn you. They climbed 4 flights of stairs. The stairwell smelled like piss and mold. Somewhere a baby was crying. Music thumped through the walls. Mara unlocked 3 deadbolts, pushed open the door. The apartment was tiny. 1 room, a bed in the corner, a kitchenette against one wall, a bathroom so small Adrian could probably touch both walls at once. But it was clean, neat, a few books on a shelf, a plant on the windowsill, curtains that looked handmade. This is it, Mara said. She sounded defensive. I know it's not much. Adrian walked to the window, looked out at the street below. How long have you lived here? 8 years. Alone? Yeah. He turned, looked at her, really looked, at the way she stood with her arms crossed, the way she watched him like she was waiting for judgment. It's perfect, he said. Mara laughed. You're lying. I'm not. It's yours. That makes it perfect. Her expression softened. You really mean that? Yes. She looked away. You want some tea? It's all I have. Sure. Mara made tea in a battered kettle. They sat on the bed because there was nowhere else to sit, drank from mismatched mugs. Thank you, Adrian said. For what? For letting me see this. See you. Mara looked down at her mug. Most people don't want to see this part. I'm not most people. No, you're not. They talked until 2 in the morning. About everything. About nothing. About the meeting. About what came next. I don't know if I can keep working there, Mara said. Then don't. I need the money. I'll help you find something else. She shook her head. I can't keep taking from you. You're not taking. I'm offering. It's the same thing. No, it's not. Adrian set down his mug, turned to face her. Taking implies you're stealing something, but I'm giving freely. There's a difference. It doesn't feel different. Why not? Because I've spent my whole life trying not to owe anyone anything, and now I owe you everything. You don't owe me anything. Yes, I do. You defended me. You put your reputation on the line. I did what anyone would do for someone they care about. Most people wouldn't. Then most people are cowards. Mara stared at him. Then she leaned forward and kissed him. It wasn't gentle, wasn't soft. It was desperate and hungry and full of everything they had been holding back. Adrian kissed her back, pulled her closer, felt her hands in his hair, her breath against his mouth. They broke apart, breathing hard. I shouldn't have done that, Mara whispered. Why not? Because now I'm going to want to do it again. Then do it again. She did. This time was slower, softer. A question and an answer all at once. When they finally pulled apart, Mara's eyes were wet. Stay, she said. What? Stay tonight, please. I don't want to be alone. Adrian nodded. Okay. They lay down on the narrow bed, fully clothed. Mara curled against his chest. Adrian wrapped his arms around her. This doesn't fix anything, she said quietly. I know. We still have all the same problems. I know. But I'm glad you're here. Me too. Mara's breathing slowed, steadied. She fell asleep with her head on his shoulder. Adrian stayed awake, stared at the ceiling, listened to the sounds of the building. The sirens, the shouting, the life happening all around them. He thought about his penthouse, empty and cold and silent. He thought about Sophie, about the life he had built, the walls he had put up, and he thought about the woman in his arms, broken and beautiful and brave. He didn't know how this would end, didn't know if they could survive the storm that was coming, but lying there in that tiny apartment in Brooklyn, holding Mara while she slept, Adrian realized something. He didn't want to go back to the life he had before, didn't want the emptiness, the isolation, the safety of being alone. He wanted this, wanted her, wanted the mess and the risk and the uncertainty, because for the first time in years he felt alive. Morning came too soon. Adrian woke to light streaming through the thin curtains. Mara was already up, standing at the window, staring out at the street. "Hey," he said. She turned, smiled. It didn't reach her eyes. "Hey." Adrian sat up. "You okay?" "I've been thinking." "About what?" Mara crossed her arms. "About yesterday. About the meeting. About us." Adrian's chest tightened. And I think I need to leave." The words hit him like a sledgehammer. "Leave the job or leave me?" "The job. Maybe the city. I don't know." Her voice was flat, emotionless. "I can't keep doing this, Adrian. I can't walk into that building every day and have people stare at me, whisper about me, judge me." "Then we'll find you something else." "Where?" "Every company in this city knows who you are. And once they connect me to you, it'll be the same thing all over again. So we fight it." "I'm tired of fighting." Adrian stood, crossed to her. "Mara, I'm serious. I'm exhausted. I've been fighting my whole life, fighting to survive, fighting to matter, fighting to prove I'm worth something." Her voice cracked. "And I'm tired." "Then let me fight for you." "That's not how it works." "Why not?" "Because eventually you'll get tired too. And then where will I be?" Adrian took her face in his hands. "I'm not going to get tired." "You don't know that." "Yes, I do." Mara closed her eyes. "You can't promise that." "I can try. Trying isn't enough." "Then what is?" She opened her eyes, looked at him. "I don't know." They stood there, close enough to touch, far enough to feel the distance. "I love you," Adrian said. The words came out before he could stop them. Mara's breath caught. "What?" "I love you. I know it's too soon. I know it's crazy. But I do." Tears filled her eyes. "Don't say that." "Why not?" "Because it makes this harder." "Makes what harder?" "Leaving." Adrian's hands dropped. "You're really going." "I think I have to." "Why?" "Because if I stay, I'll drag you down with me. And you have Sophie. You have a company. You have a life." Her voice broke. "And I can't be the reason you lose it. You won't be. You don't know that. Morris, I'm trying to protect you." "I don't need protection. I need you." She shook her head. "You need someone stable, someone who fits into your world, someone who won't cause problems." "I need you," Adrian repeated, firmer this time. "Not some fantasy version. You, exactly as you are." Mara covered her face with her hands, sobbed. Adrian pulled her close, held her while she cried, felt his own tears start to fall. "Please don't go," he whispered. "I don't know how to stay." "Then we'll figure it out, together." "What if we can't?" "Then at least we tried." Mara pulled back, looked at him with red, swollen eyes. "You really love me?" "Yes." "Even though I'm a mess?" "Especially because you're a mess." She laughed. It was broken and watery. "That's the worst reason to love someone." "It's the only reason that matters." Mara searched his face, looking for the lie, the moment when he would take it back. She didn't find it. "I love you too," she whispered. Adrian's heart stopped. "What?" "I love you, and it terrifies me." "Why?" "Because I've never had anything worth losing before, and now I do. And I don't know how to handle that." Adrian kissed her, soft and slow and full of promise. When they pulled apart, Mara was crying again. "We're going to be okay," Adrian said. "How do you know?" "I don't, but I believe it." "That's not very logical." "Love isn't logical. Mara smiled, a real smile this time. No, it's not. They stood there, holding each other, the morning light spilling through the window, the city waking up around them. It wasn't a solution, wasn't an answer. The problems were still there, the rumors, the gossip, the gap between their worlds. But for the first time, Mara didn't feel alone. And that, she realized, was everything. The board meeting was scheduled for Thursday at 9. Adrian knew what it was about before he walked through the door. Carolyn had warned him the night before. A phone call at 10 p.m. Her voice tight with worry. They're calling an emergency session. Roberts is leading the charge. James Roberts, majority shareholder, old money. The kind of man who wore his entitlement like a tailored suit. What does he want? Adrian asked. To discuss your recent behavior. His words, not mine. Adrian had expected this, had known it was coming since the moment he stood on that stage and defended Mara in front of the entire company. Let them discuss, he said. Adrian, they have the votes to remove you. Then they'll remove me. Caroline was silent for a moment. You're really willing to lose everything for her? Adrian thought about Mara, about the way she had looked that morning in her tiny apartment, scared and brave and beautiful. Yes, he said, I am. Now he sat at the head of the long mahogany table and faced 12 men in expensive suits, men who had helped him build this company, men who now looked at him like he was a liability. Robert spoke first. He always did. Adrian, thank you for joining us on such short notice. Cut the pleasantries, James. What do you want? Roberts' smile didn't reach his eyes. We want to discuss your relationship with one of the staff members, Mara Ellis. What about it? We're concerned about the optics, the liability, the damage to the company's reputation. Adrian leaned back in his chair. What damage? The news broke yesterday. Social media is having a field day. Billionaire CEO in inappropriate relationship with cleaning woman. The tabloids are already calling. Let them call. This isn't a joke, Adrian. We have shareholders to answer to, investors, clients. And I have a life to live. Roberts' jaw tightened. Your personal life becomes our business when it affects the company's bottom line. How exactly does my relationship with Mara affect the bottom line? It makes us look unprofessional, reckless. It suggests you have poor judgment. Adrian felt anger bubble up in his chest, hot and sharp. My judgment built this company from nothing. My judgment made all of you very rich. And now you're questioning it because I'm dating someone you deem beneath me? We're not saying she's beneath you. Yes, you are. That's exactly what you're saying. Another board member, Peterson, a man in his 60s with silver hair and cold eyes, cleared his throat. Adrian, we understand that emotions can cloud judgment, but you need to think about Sophie. What kind of example does this set for her? Adrian's hands clenched into fists under the table. Don't bring my daughter into this. We're trying to look out for her best interests. By telling me who I can and can't date? By reminding you that your actions have consequences. For her, for the company, for everyone. Roberts leaned forward. We're not asking you to end the relationship entirely, just to be more discreet. Keep it private. Don't flaunt it in front of the staff. I defended her from harassment. That's not flaunting. You made a public declaration in front of the entire company. You put a target on both your backs. People were already targeting her. I was trying to protect her. And in doing so, you made everything worse. Roberts' voice was sharp now. The vandalism, the rumors, they've escalated. We've had 3 complaints from employees who feel uncomfortable with the situation. 2 are threatening to sue for hostile work environment. Adrian's stomach dropped. What? They claim that your relationship with Ms. Ellis has created favoritism, that other cleaning staff are being overlooked for opportunities because you're romantically involved with one of them. That's ridiculous. Is it? Can you honestly say your feelings for her haven't influenced your decisions? Adrian opened his mouth, closed it. Because the truth was, he had been thinking about Mara constantly, looking for ways to help her, protect her, make her life easier. But that wasn't favoritism. That was caring about someone. My relationship with Mara has nothing to do with company policy or hiring decisions, he said carefully. But the perception is there, and perception becomes reality. Robert sat back. We're giving you 2 options, Adrian. Either you end the relationship and we move forward as usual, or you step down as CEO and we bring in someone who can focus on the company without distractions." The room fell silent. Adrian stared at Roberts, at the other board members, men he had trusted, men he had built something with. "You're serious," he said. "Completely. You're asking me to choose between the company and Mara. We're asking you to choose what's best for everyone involved." Adrian stood. The chair scraped against the floor. "No." Roberts blinked. "Excuse me?" "I said no. I'm not ending my relationship, and I'm not stepping down. Then we'll have no choice but to call a vote." "Call it." "Adrian, call the damn vote, James. Let's see where everyone stands." Roberts looked around the table. The other board members shifted uncomfortably. A few avoided Adrian's eyes. "All in favor of removing Adrian West as CEO?" Roberts said. 6 hands went up, then 7, then 8. Adrian felt something cold settle in his chest. He had expected betrayal. But seeing it happen was different. All opposed? 4 hands, including Caroline, who sat at the far end of the table with her jaw tight and her eyes blazing. "The motion passes," Roberts said. "Effective immediately, you are no longer CEO of West Industries. We'll draft a press release citing personal reasons for your departure. You'll remain on the board in an advisory capacity, but operational control passes to the interim CEO we appoint." Adrian stared at him. "You're making a mistake. We're protecting the company you built, whether you see it that way or not. The company I built wouldn't exist without me. And it will continue to exist after you." Robert stood, extended his hand. "I'm sorry it came to this." Adrian didn't take his hand, just walked out of the room. Caroline caught up with him in the hallway. "Adrian, I don't want to talk about it. You just lost everything." "I know. And you're okay with that?" Adrian stopped, turned to face her. "No, I'm not okay with it, but I'd rather lose the company than lose her." Caroline studied him. "You really love her?" "Yes." "Even though she cost you everything?" "She didn't cost me anything. They did." Adrian gestured back toward the boardroom. "They're the ones who made me choose, and I made my choice." Caroline was quiet for a moment, then she nodded. "What do you need from me?" "Start looking for a new job. Roberts won't keep you on. You voted against him." "I don't care." "You should. Adrian, I've worked for you for 6 years. I'm not going to abandon you now just because you got fired." Despite everything, Adrian almost smiled. "Thank you." "Don't thank me yet. We still have to figure out how to tell Mara." Adrian's stomach twisted. "She's going to blame herself." "Probably. I need to get to her before the news breaks." "It already broke. Robert sent the press release 10 minutes ago." Adrian cursed, pulled out his phone, saw the missed calls, the messages, all from Mara. The most recent one was time-stamped 3 minutes ago. "Please tell me this isn't real." He called her. It rang once, twice. She picked up on the 3rd ring. "Adrian?" Her voice was shaking. "Where are you?" "Home. I saw the news. They're saying you got fired, that the board forced you out because of me." "Mara, is it true?" Adrian closed his eyes. "Yes." He heard her breath catch, then a sob. "I'm coming over," he said. "No, don't." "Mara, I mean it. Don't come here. I can't see you right now." "Please." She hung up. Adrian stood in the hallway, phone in his hand, heart in his throat. Caroline touched his arm. "Give her time." "I don't want to give her time. I want to be with her." "I know, but she needs to process this, and so do you." Adrian wanted to argue, to get in his car and drive to Brooklyn, to break down her door if he had to. But Caroline was right. Mara needed space, and he needed to respect that, even if it killed him. He went home instead, picked up Sophie from school, tried to act normal. Sophie saw through it immediately. "What's wrong?" she asked in the car. "Nothing, sweetheart." "You're lying." "Smart kid. Too smart." "I had a hard day at work." "What happened?" Adrian glanced at her in the rearview mirror. 8 years old, blonde hair and pigtails, gray eyes that saw too much. He had been trying to protect her from this, from the mess. from the fallout. But maybe that was a mistake. Maybe she deserved to know the truth. I got fired, he said. Sophie's eyes went wide. What? The board decided they didn't want me as CEO anymore, so they let me go. Can they do that? Apparently. That's not fair. No, it's not. Sophie was quiet for a moment. Then, is it because of Mara? Adrian's hands tightened on the steering wheel. How do you know about Mara? I heard you talking on the phone, and you've been different lately. Happy, but also worried. She paused. Is she your girlfriend? Adrian pulled over, turned to look at his daughter. How would you feel if she was? Sophie thought about it. I don't know. I've never met her. Would you want to? Is she nice? Very. Does she make you happy? Yes. Sophie nodded. Then I want to meet her. Adrian felt something loosen in his chest. Really? Yeah, but Dad? Yeah? If you got fired because of her, she's probably really sad right now. She is. Then you should go see her. Make sure she's okay. Adrian smiled, reached back and squeezed Sophie's hand. When did you get so wise? I've always been wise. You just don't notice. He laughed. It felt good, like a release. Okay, I'll drop you at home with Martha. Then I'll go check on her. Good. They drove home. Adrian left Sophie with the housekeeper and got back in the car. He didn't call first, didn't ask permission, just drove to Brooklyn and climbed the 4 flights of stairs, knocked on Mara's door. No answer. He knocked again. Mara, I know you're in there. Silence. Please just let me in. We need to talk. More silence. Adrian leaned his forehead against the door. I'm not leaving. I'll stand out here all night if I have to. A long pause. Then he heard the locks turning. The door opened. Mara stood there in sweatpants and a t-shirt. Her eyes were red. Her face was blotchy. She looked wrecked. You shouldn't be here, she said. I needed to see you. Why? So you can tell me it's not my fault? That you don't regret it? Her voice was hard, brittle. Save it. I already know. Then why won't you look at me? She turned away. Because if I look at you, I'll start crying again. And I'm tired of crying. Adrian stepped inside, closed the door behind him. Then don't cry. Be angry. Yell at me. Throw things. Whatever you need. Mara laughed. It was a bitter sound. I don't want to yell at you. Then what do you want? I want to go back to before I met you, when my life was simple and small and safe. The words cut deep. You don't mean that, Adrian said. Don't I? She turned to face him. You lost your job because of me, your company, the thing you spent your entire adult life building. And for what? For someone like me? Don't do that. Do what? Talk about yourself like you're worthless. I'm not worthless, but I'm not worth losing everything either. Adrian crossed the room, took her face in his hands. You're worth more than all of it. Mara's eyes filled with tears. How can you say that? Because it's true. It's not. You're just... Her voice broke. You're just saying what you think I need to hear. I'm saying what I feel. Then you're insane. Probably. Adrian smiled. But I'd rather be insane with you than sane without you. A tear slid down her cheek. They fired you. I know. Because of me. Because of them. They're the ones who made it an ultimatum. They're the ones who couldn't see past their own prejudices. But I'm the reason they had to choose. No, I'm the reason. I'm the one who stood up in that meeting. I'm the one who forced the issue. You didn't ask me to do that. I didn't ask you to lose everything either. I didn't lose everything. I lost a job. There's a difference. Mara shook her head. It wasn't just a job, it was your life. No, it was what I did, not who I am. Adrian's thumbs wiped away her tears. You want to know what my life was before you? Empty. Cold. Lonely. I had money and power and success, but I didn't have anything that mattered. And then I met you. And suddenly I remembered what it felt like to care about something other than the next deal. The next acquisition, the next board meeting. Adrian, I love you, Mara, and I don't regret any of it. Not the meeting, not the board vote, not losing the CEO position, because I'd rather have you than all of it. She sobbed, leaned into him. He wrapped his arms around her and held on. I'm so sorry, she whispered. Don't be. I ruined your life. You saved it. Mara pulled back, looked at him with red, swollen eyes. How can you say that? Say, because it's true. I was sleepwalking through my life, going through the motions, pretending I was happy. And then you came along and woke me up. To what? Unemployment? Adrian laughed. To possibility. To connection. To feeling something real for the first time in years. Mara searched his face. You really don't regret it. Not for a second. But what are you going to do now? I don't know. Figure it out as I go. That's not a plan. Since when do we have plans? We've been making this up since the beginning. She almost smiled. That's true. So we'll keep making it up, together. Mara was quiet for a moment, then, Sophie knows about me. Adrian blinked. How? You just said her name. In the car. I heard you. You were listening? I called you back. You didn't answer. It went to voicemail. She looked down. I heard you talking to her, telling her about me. Adrian's chest tightened. What did you hear? That I make you happy, that I'm nice, that she wants to meet me. She does. Mara's eyes filled with tears again. Adrian, I can't meet your daughter. Why not? Because what if she doesn't like me? What if I'm not good enough? You are good enough. How do you know? Because she's already on your side. She told me to come check on you, to make sure you were okay. Mara blinked. She said that? Yes. But she doesn't even know me. She knows you make me happy. That's enough for her. Mara pressed her hands to her face. This is too much. This is all happening too fast. Then we'll slow down. How? One day at a time. Remember? She dropped her hands, looked at him. You keep saying that. Because it's all we can do. Mara took a shaky breath. Okay. Okay. One day at a time. Adrian pulled her close, kissed the top of her head. We're going to be okay. How do you know? I don't, but I believe it. They stood there in her tiny apartment, holding each other while the world fell apart around them. It wasn't a solution, wasn't an answer. Adrian had lost his job. Mara had lost her anonymity. They both had uncertain futures, but they had each other. And for now, that was enough. The next morning, Adrian woke up on Mara's couch with a crick in his neck and the smell of coffee in the air. Mara was at the stove, making eggs. She turned when she heard him move. Morning, she said. Morning. I made breakfast. It's not much, just eggs and toast. Adrian sat up. It's perfect. They ate in silence, comfortable this time. Easy. What are you going to do? Mara asked finally. About what? About everything. The company, your career, your life. Adrian thought about it. I have options. I could start something new, consult, invest. I have enough money to do whatever I want. But what do you want? That was the question, wasn't it? He had spent 20 years building West Industries, pouring everything into it, making it his identity. And now it was gone. But sitting there in Mara's tiny kitchen, eating eggs off a chipped plate, Adrian realized something. He didn't miss it. He missed the work, the challenge, the satisfaction of building something. But he didn't miss the politics, the board meetings, the constant pressure to perform. I want to build something different, he said. Something that matters, not just to shareholders, but to people. Like what? I don't know yet, but I'll figure it out. Mara smiled, a real smile this time. You're crazy. You've said that before. It's still true. Adrian reached across the table, took her hand. Come with me. Where? Wherever this goes. I don't have a plan, I don't have answers, but I have you, and that's enough. Mara's eyes filled with tears. Adrian, I know it's scary, I know it's uncertain, but we can do this. Together. She squeezed his hand. Okay. Okay? Okay. They sat there, holding hands across the table, two people with uncertain futures and impossible odds, But they had each other, and that, Adrian thought, was everything. The news cycle moved fast. By Friday, the story had shifted. A new scandal, a new controversy. West Industries announced their interim CEO, some executive from a competitor who had been quietly recruited months ago, and Adrian's departure became old news. He spent the weekend at home with Sophie, explaining what happened, answering her questions, trying to be honest without scaring her. "Are we going to be okay?" she asked Saturday night. They were in her room. Adrian was tucking her in. "Yes, sweetheart. We're going to be fine." "But you don't have a job." "I'll find another one." "What if you can't?" Adrian sat on the edge of her bed. "Sophie, I have enough money saved that we'll never have to worry. I promise." "But you liked your job." "I liked parts of it, but there were parts I didn't like too." "Like what?" "Like being away from you so much. Like missing bedtime. Like always being tired and stressed." Sophie thought about this. "So maybe it's good you got fired." Adrian smiled. "Maybe it is. And now you can spend more time with Mara." His smile widened. "That too." "When do I get to meet her?" "Soon, if you still want to." "I do." "She's a little nervous about meeting you." "Why?" "Because you're important to me, and she wants you to like her." Sophie nodded seriously. "I'll try to like her, but I need to meet her first." "That's fair." "Dad?" "Yeah? I'm glad you're happy, even if it's complicated." Adrian felt his throat tighten. "Thank you, sweetheart." He kissed her forehead, turned off the light, closed the door. In the hallway, he pulled out his phone, texted Mara. "Sophie wants to meet you. No pressure, but whenever you're ready." She responded almost immediately. "I'm terrified. She's 8. What's there to be terrified of?" "Everything." Adrian smiled. "She's going to love you. How do you know?" "Because I do." A long pause, then, "Okay, when? Tomorrow? Lunch?" Another pause. Then, "Okay." Adrian felt something loosen in his chest, like a knot untying. This was happening, really happening. And for the first time since the board meeting, he felt hopeful. Sunday afternoon, Mara showed up at Adrian's building wearing jeans and a sweater that looked new. Her hands were shaking. Adrian met her in the lobby, took her hands in his. "You're trembling," he said. "I'm nervous." "Don't be." "Easy for you to say." "She's going to love you." "You don't know that." "I do." Mara took a deep breath. "Okay, let's do this before I lose my nerve." They took the elevator to the penthouse. Adrian unlocked the door, called out. "Sophie, we're here." Sophie appeared from the living room, blonde hair in a ponytail, gray eyes curious and cautious. She looked at Mara. Mara looked back. For a long moment, nobody spoke. Then Sophie said, "Hi." "Hi," Mara said. Her voice was barely above a whisper. "I'm Sophie." "I'm Mara." "I know. Dad talks about you a lot." Mara glanced at Adrian. He smiled. "He talks about you too," Mara said. "Good things?" "The best things." Sophie studied her for a moment. Then, "Do you like dinosaurs?" Mara blinked. I don't know much about them." "That's okay. I can teach you." Sophie grabbed Mara's hand. "Come on, I'll show you my collection." And just like that, she dragged Mara into the living room. Adrian stood in the entryway, watching them, feeling something warm spread through his chest. It was going to be okay. They were going to be okay. Lunch was easier than Mara expected. Sophie talked nonstop, about school, about dinosaurs, about her friend Emma, who had a pet rabbit. Mara listened, asked questions, laughed at Sophie's jokes. Adrian watched them, saw the way Mara relaxed, the way she smiled, the way she looked at Sophie with something soft in her eyes. After lunch, Sophie asked if Mara wanted to see her room. "If that's okay," Mara said. "It's okay," Sophie said. She grabbed Mara's hand again, led her upstairs. Adrian followed at a distance, watched from the doorway as Sophie showed Mara her books, her toys, her drawings taped to the wall. "I like this one," Mara said. She was looking at a picture of a T-Rex. "I drew that when I was 6. It's not very good." "I think it's great." Sophie beamed. "Really?" "Really." They sat on the floor. Sophie pulled out more drawings. Mara looked at each one, made comments, asked questions. Adrian watched them, felt his heart swell. This was what he wanted, this feeling, this moment. this family. Later, after Mara left, Sophie came to find him in the study. "I like her," she said. Adrian looked up from his laptop. "Yeah? Yeah, she's nice, and she actually listened to me, not like some of your friends who just pretend." Adrian smiled. "She's special. Are you going to marry her?" The question caught him off guard. What? Are you going to marry her? Because if you are, I think you should. She makes you happy." Adrian stared at his daughter, 8 years old and already wiser than he was. "I don't know, Soph. We're taking it slow." "Why?" "Because it's complicated." "Love isn't complicated. You either love someone or you don't." "It's not that simple." "Yes, it is. You love her. She loves you. You should get married." Adrian laughed. "When did you become a relationship expert?" "I'm not. I just know what I see." Sophie crossed her arms. "And I see that you're happier now than you've been in a long time. So don't mess it up." "I'll try not to." "Good." She turned to leave, then stopped. "Dad?" "Yeah?" "If you do marry her, can I be in the wedding?" Adrian felt tears prick his eyes. "Absolutely." "Okay, good." She grinned. "I already have ideas for my dress." She left. Adrian sat alone in his study, staring at the empty doorway, 8 years old, and she had already given him her blessing. Now, all he had to do was not screw it up. That night, Adrian called Mara. "How are you feeling?" he asked. "Exhausted, but good." "Sophie likes you." "I like her too. She's amazing." "She is." "Adrian?" "Yeah?" "Thank you." "For what?" "For today. For letting me into your life, into her life. I know that wasn't easy." "It was the easiest thing I've ever done." Mara was quiet for a moment, then, "I love you. I love you too." "I mean it. I really love you." "I know, I feel the same way." Another pause, then, "What are we doing?" "What do you mean?" "This, us. Where is this going?" Adrian thought about Sophie's question, about marriage, about the future. "I don't know," he said honestly, "but I know I want to find out. With you." "Even though it's messy?" "Especially because it's messy." Mara laughed. "You're impossible. You love me anyway." "I do." They talked for another hour, about nothing, about everything, about the future they were building together. When they finally hung up, Adrian sat in the dark and smiled. He had lost his job, his company, his carefully constructed life. But he had gained something better. He had gained love, and that, he realized, was worth everything. 3 months passed before Adrian figured out what he wanted to build. It started with a conversation. Mara had moved out of her apartment in Brooklyn, not into his penthouse, not yet, but into a better place in Queens that he helped her find. She had quit the cleaning job the week after he got fired, couldn't face going back, couldn't stand the stares and the whispers. They were having dinner at her new place. Takeout Chinese. Sitting on the floor because she still didn't have a table. "I've been thinking," Adrian said. "About what?" "About what comes next. For me. Professionally." Mara looked at him over her container of lo mein. "And?" "I want to start a foundation. Something focused on workforce development, job training for people who got left behind, second chances." She set down her food. "Because of me. Because of you. Because of everyone like you. People who are smart and capable, but get stuck because they don't have the right connections or the right background or the right degree." Mara was quiet for a moment. "That's a lot of people." "I know. That's why it matters." "What would you do exactly?" Adrian had been thinking about this for weeks. Researching, planning. Partner with companies. Create apprenticeship programs. Offer certifications in trades that actually pay. Electrical work. Plumbing, HVAC, tech skills. Things that lead to real jobs. "That sounds expensive." "I have the money, and I'll raise more." Mara studied him. "You're serious about this?" "Yes." "Why?" "Because the system is broken, and I was part of the problem. I made budget cuts that eliminated good jobs. I hired based on resumes instead of potential. I built a company that rewarded privilege and ignored everyone else." He leaned forward. "I can't fix everything, but I can do something." Mara's eyes were wet. "You're a good man, Adrian West." "I'm trying to be." She crawled across the floor. kissed him. I'm proud of you. You haven't even seen it yet. I don't need to. I know you'll make it work. He did make it work. 6 months after leaving West Industries, Adrian launched the Second Chance initiative. The press coverage was massive. Some of it good, some of it cynical. People saying he was trying to buy back his reputation, that this was just PR. He didn't care. He knew the truth. This wasn't about redemption. It was about doing something that mattered. Mara was there at the launch event, standing beside him, no longer hiding, no longer afraid. She had started working for the foundation. Not because Adrian gave her the job, though he would have, but because she interviewed and Caroline hired her. She ran the apprenticeship program, used her own experience to connect with people who had been written off by the system. She was good at it, better than good. She understood their fears, their doubts, their anger at a world that never gave them a fair shot. One afternoon, Adrian found her in the foundation office. She was talking to a young woman, maybe 22, 23, who looked terrified. I don't have a high school diploma, the woman was saying. I dropped out when I got pregnant, and now I can't get hired anywhere that pays more than minimum wage. Mara leaned forward. What do you want to do? I don't know. Something that matters, something that uses my brain. Can you use a computer? Yeah, I taught myself, watched YouTube videos. Mara smiled. Then let's start there. We have a coding boot camp starting next month, 12 weeks, intensive. But if you complete it, you'll have certifications that companies actually value. The woman's eyes widened. I can't afford that. It's free. That's the whole point. Why? Because everyone deserves a second chance. Adrian watched from the doorway, felt his chest tighten. This was why he had started the foundation. For moments like this. For people like that young woman. For people like Mara. That night he asked her to marry him. They were at his place. Sophie was at a sleepover. They had the penthouse to themselves. Adrian had planned something elaborate, dinner, candles, a speech he had been rehearsing for weeks. But when the moment came, all of that fell away. They were sitting on the couch, Mara's head on his shoulder, watching some movie neither of them was paying attention to. Marry me, Adrian said. Mara sat up. What? Marry me, please. She stared at him. Are you serious? Yes. Adrian, we've only been together for 9 months. I know, it's not long, but I don't care. I love you. I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And I don't want to wait. Mara's hands were shaking. This is insane. Probably. People will talk. Let them. Your family, I don't have family, just Sophie. And she already gave her blessing. Mara laughed. It was a watery sound. You asked Sophie before you asked me? She asked me first, about 3 months ago. Wanted to know if I was going to marry you. When I said maybe, she told me not to mess it up. Tears streamed down Mara's face. She said that? She did. She also has ideas about her dress, very specific ideas. Mara covered her face with her hands, sobbed. Adrian pulled her close. Is that a yes? It's a, you're crazy and this is a terrible idea. But is it a yes? She pulled back, looked at him with red, swollen eyes. Yes, it's a yes. Adrian kissed her, tasted salt and joy and everything he had been waiting for. When they broke apart, Mara was laughing and crying at the same time. I don't have a ring, Adrian said. I don't care about a ring. I'll get you one. Adrian, I want to. Let me do this. She shook her head. Oh, okay, but nothing huge, nothing ostentatious. Something simple. Simple, got it. They sat there, holding each other. The movie played on in the background. Neither of them watched it. When? Mara asked. When what? When do you want to get married? Adrian thought about it. Soon. I don't want a big wedding, just something small, intimate, people who matter. I don't have people who matter, not like you do. You have me, and Sophie, and Caroline. That's enough. Mara rested her head on his chest. This is really happening. It is. I'm going to be your wife. And I'm going to be your husband. She laughed. That sounds weird. Good weird or bad weird? Good weird. They stayed like that for hours, talking about the future, about the wedding, about what came next. For the first time in her life, Mara felt like she belonged somewhere, with someone, and it didn't scare her anymore. Planning a small wedding turned out to be harder than they expected. Word got out. The press went wild. Billionaire marries former cleaning woman. Rags to riches. A modern fairy tale. Adrian hated it, hated the way they reduced Mara to a headline, but she handled it better than he did. "Let them write what they want," she said. "I know the truth. You know the truth. That's all that matters." They decided on a ceremony at the penthouse. Just 20 people. Caroline, Sophie, a few close friends. Mara's old foster mother, Linda, who had flown in from Oregon and cried when she got the invitation. No board members, no business associates, no one from Adrian's old life, just the people who mattered. The day of the wedding, Adrian woke up nervous. Sophie found him in the kitchen at 6 a.m., staring at a cup of coffee he hadn't drunk. "You okay, Dad?" He looked at her, 9 now, getting taller, growing up too fast. "I'm good, sweetheart. You look nervous." "I am a little." "Why? You love Mara." "I do. And she loves you." "She does." "Then what's there to be nervous about?" Adrian smiled. "You're right, as usual." Sophie sat beside him. "Can I tell you something?" "Anything. I'm really happy you're marrying her. I know I said it before, but I mean it. She's good for you. She makes you laugh. And she actually listens when I talk about dinosaurs." Adrian felt his throat tighten. "She's pretty special." "Yeah, she is." Sophie paused. "And Dad?" "I think Mom would be happy too." The mention of Sophie's mother caught him off guard. They rarely talked about her. "You do?" "Yeah, I don't remember her, but I think if she loved you, she'd want you to be happy. And Mara makes you happy." Adrian pulled Sophie into a hug, held her tight. "When did you get so wise?" "I've always been wise. You just don't notice." It was the same thing she had said a year ago. Adrian laughed, kissed the top of her head. "I notice," he said. "Trust me, I notice." The ceremony was at 4. Mara got ready in the guest room. Linda helped her with her dress, something simple and ivory that she had found at a boutique in Soho. No veil, no train, just a dress that made her feel beautiful. Linda stood behind her, adjusted the straps, tears in her eyes. "You look stunning," Linda said. Mara stared at herself in the mirror, barely recognized the woman looking back. "I can't believe this is happening." "Believe it. You deserve this." "Do I?" Linda turned her around, looked her in the eye. "Yes, you do. Stop questioning it." Mara's eyes filled with tears. "I'm scared." "Of what?" "That I'll wake up and it'll all be gone. That this is too good to be true." Linda took her hands. "Listen to me. I know you've been hurt. I know you've learned not to trust good things. But Adrian isn't going anywhere. He loves you. And love like that doesn't disappear." "How do you know?" "Because I see the way he looks at you. Like you're the only person in the room. Like you matter more than anything." Linda smiled. "That's real, Mara. Don't run from it." Mara nodded, wiped her eyes. "Okay. Okay." A knock on the door. Caroline poked her head in. "It's time." Mara took a deep breath. "I'm ready." The ceremony was short, simple. No minister, just a friend of Adrian's who was ordained online specifically for this. Adrian stood at the front of the room, wearing a suit but no tie, looking nervous and happy and everything Mara had never thought she would have. Sophie stood beside him. Her dress was purple, her choice, and she was grinning so wide it looked like her face might split. Mara walked down the makeshift aisle. No music, no procession, just her and Linda and 20 pairs of eyes watching. She focused on Adrian, on the way he looked at her, like she was the only thing that mattered. When she reached him, he took her hands. They were both shaking. The ceremony was a blur. Mara heard the words but didn't process them. All she could focus on was Adrian, on the way his thumb rubbed circles on the back of her hand, on the way his eyes never left hers. "Do you, Adrian West, take Mara Ellis to be your lawfully wedded wife?" "I do." "And do you, Mara Ellis, take Adrian West to be your lawfully wedded husband?" Mara's voice caught. Then, "I do." "Then by the power vested in me, I now pronounce you husband and wife. You may kiss the bride." Adrian leaned in, kissed her softly. The room erupted in applause. When they pulled apart, Mara was crying. "Hey," Adrian said, wiped her tears with his thumb. "You okay?" "Yeah, I'm just—" She laughed. "I'm happy." "Me too." Sophie appeared beside them, threw her arms around both of them. "You guys are married," Mara laughed, hugged her back. "We are." "Does this mean I can call you Mom?" Mara froze, looked at Adrian. He nodded, left the choice to her. She looked down at Sophie, at this little girl who had accepted her without question, who had given her blessing before anyone asked. "If you want to," Mara said softly. "I want to." Mara's vision blurred. "Then yes, you can call me Mom." Sophie beamed, hugged her tighter. Adrian wrapped his arms around both of them. And in that moment, surrounded by the people who mattered, Mara felt something she had never felt before. She felt like she belonged. The reception was small, catered dinner, champagne, a cake that Sophie had helped pick out, chocolate with raspberry filling. Adrian gave a toast, short and from the heart. "I spent most of my life building things, companies, wealth, reputation. And I thought that was enough. I thought success was the goal." He looked at Mara. "But then I met someone who showed me what really matters. Not what you have, but who you have. Not what you've built, but who you've become." His voice caught. "Mara, you made me a better man, a better father, a better human being, and I promise to spend the rest of my life trying to deserve you." Mara was crying again. So was half the room. She stood, walked to him, kissed him, while everyone cheered. When she pulled back, she whispered, "You already deserve me, because you chose me, when no one else would." Adrian rested his forehead against hers. "Always." The night wound down, guests left. Sophie fell asleep on the couch. Adrian and Mara stood on the balcony, looking out at the city. The light stretched to the horizon. "We did it," Mara said. "We did." "I'm your wife, and I'm your husband." She laughed. "That still sounds weird. Give it time, it'll grow on you." They stood in silence for a while, just being. "Adrian?" "Yeah?" "Thank you." "For what?" "For not giving up on me. For fighting for us. For making me believe I was worth it." Adrian turned to her, took her face in his hands. "You were always worth it. I just helped you see it." Mara kissed him, slow and deep and full of promise. When they broke apart, she said, "What now?" "Now we live. We build a life together. We raise Sophie. We run the foundation. We figure it out as we go." "No plan?" "No plan. Just us." Mara smiled. "I like that." They went inside, carried Sophie to bed, tucked her in together. Then they went to their own room, lay down, held each other. "I love you," Mara whispered. "I love you too." "Even though I'm a mess?" Adrian smiled. "Especially because you're a mess." Mara laughed, closed her eyes. "We're going to be okay, aren't it?" "We already are." And for the first time in her life, Mara believed it. 2 years later, the Second Chance Initiative had placed over 3,000 people in jobs. Real jobs. Careers. Paths forward. Mara ran the program with the same fierce determination she had brought to everything else in her life. She fought for funding, pushed back against bureaucracy, made sure every person who walked through their doors got a real shot. Adrian supported her, not by taking over, but by trusting her, by letting her lead. They were a team, in work, in life, in everything. Sophie was 11 now, thriving. She had Mara's determination and Adrian's stubbornness, a dangerous combination. One night at dinner, she announced she wanted to be an engineer. "Not a paleontologist?" Adrian asked. "Dinosaurs are cool, but I want to build things, like you used to, Dad." Adrian smiled. "Then you should do it. Will you teach me?" "Absolutely." Mara watched them, father and daughter, her family, and felt something warm spread through her chest. This was what she had been searching for her whole life. Not money, not status, not security, belonging. Later that night, after Sophie went to bed, Adrian and Mara sat on the balcony, their usual spot. "I got a call today," Adrian said. "From who?" James Roberts. Mara tensed. What did he want? To apologize. The company's been struggling since I left. The interim CEO didn't work out. Neither did his replacement. They're bleeding talent, losing contracts. Adrian paused. He wanted to know if I'd consider coming back. Mara's heart stopped. What did you say? I said no. She exhaled. Really? Really? That part of my life is over. I don't want it back. You don't miss it? Sometimes. I miss the challenge, the rush of closing a deal. But I don't miss the person I was, the life I had. He took her hand. I like who I am now. I like what we're building together. Mara squeezed his hand. I'm glad you said no. Me too. They sat in silence for a while. Then Mara said, I've been thinking. About what? About foster kids. About how there are thousands of them aging out of the system every year with nowhere to go, no support, no resources. Adrian looked at her. You want to expand the program. I want to focus on them specifically, create pathways, partnerships with companies that will give them a real shot. Not charity. Opportunity. That's ambitious. I know, but I think we can do it. Adrian smiled. Then let's do it. Mara leaned her head on his shoulder. You always say yes. Because your ideas are good. Or because you love me. That too. They launched the program 6 months later. Called it Bridge, a way to cross the gap between foster care and independence. The response was overwhelming. Applications poured in, companies signed on, the press coverage was massive. Mara did interviews, told her story. Not the sanitized version, the real one, the hard parts, the failures, the fear. People responded. Not because it was a fairy tale, but because it was honest. One woman wrote to her, said she had been in foster care, had aged out with nothing, was working 3 jobs just to survive. Mara called her personally, got her into the program, helped her find a job in IT that paid 3 times what she had been making. 6 months later, the woman sent Mara a photo. Her first apartment. Nothing fancy, but it was hers. The note said, You changed my life. Thank you. Mara cried when she read it, showed Adrian. This is why we do it, she said. This is why you do it, Adrian corrected. This was your idea, your vision. But you made it possible. We made it possible. Together. Mara kissed him. Together. 5 years after they met, Adrian and Mara sat on the same balcony where he had proposed, where they had talked about the future, where they had built a life. Sophie was 14 now, tall and confident and everything they had hoped she would be. The foundation was thriving. They had placed over 10,000 people in jobs, changed countless lives. Do you ever think about that night? Mara asked. In the generator room? Adrian smiled. All the time. If the power hadn't gone out, we still would have met, somehow. You don't know that. I do. Some things are inevitable. Mara laughed. That's very romantic. I have my moments. They sat in comfortable silence. The city hummed below them. The world kept turning. I'm happy, Mara said quietly. So am I. I never thought I'd be able to say that. Not like this. Not and mean it. Adrian pulled her close. You deserve to be happy. So do you. Then we're both lucky. Mara looked up at him. You know what the best part is? What? We didn't just survive. We built something beautiful, something that matters. Adrian kissed the top of her head. We did. And it was true. They had started with nothing but a moment in the dark, a conversation, a connection. They had faced rumors and gossip and people who said it would never work, who said the gap between their worlds was too wide to cross. But they had proved them all wrong, not because it was easy, but because they chose each other every single day. Through the hard parts and the good parts and everything in between. Love, Mara had learned, wasn't about being perfect. It wasn't about having all the answers or never making mistakes. It was about showing up, being honest, fighting for each other even when it would be easier to walk away. It was about believing that 2 broken people could build something whole. And they had, against all odds, against all expectations. They had built a life, a family, a future. And that was more than enough. It was everything. Years later, when people asked Mara what it was like to go from cleaning offices to running a foundation, from poverty to wealth, from loneliness to love, she always gave the same answer. It taught me that where you start doesn't determine where you end up, that the distance between two people isn't about money or status or any of the things the world tells us matter. It's about courage, about choosing to believe that love is possible even when everything says it isn't. And when they asked if she had any regrets, she smiled and shook her head. Not a single one. Because every hard moment, every tear, every fear, it all led me here, to him, to Sophie, to this life, and I wouldn't trade it for anything. Adrian felt the same way. He had lost a company, but he had gained a purpose, a family, a reason to wake up every morning that had nothing to do with profit margins or board meetings. He had learned that success wasn't measured in dollars or power. It was measured in moments, in the smile on his daughter's face, in the warmth of his wife's hand in his, in the lives they had changed together. Some people said he had thrown it all away for love, that he had made a foolish choice, but Adrian knew better. He hadn't thrown anything away. He had finally figured out what mattered, and that made all the difference. The end of their story wasn't about triumph or vindication or proving anyone wrong. It was simpler than that. It was about two people who found each other in the dark, who chose to hold on when it would have been easier to let go, who built something beautiful out of broken pieces. It was about love. Real, messy, imperfect love. And in the end, that was the only thing that ever really mattered.